if I were to look at, how my background, how I approach things, I mean, frankly, it's my attitude that everything is really an evolution. 99.9% of things are evolution, not revolution. You have to fundamentally look at the basics. And when you look at the basics, you're able to rapidly determine really what are we talking about. And I like to oversimplify things. You know, it's very easy to make something complex. I actually quoting Albert Einstein in some version, I don't know the exact form, but Albert Einstein said it take any competent fool can make anything sound difficult. It takes a genius to make it sound simple. And I like to make things sound simple. So just I'll give you an concept. Everybody's talking about AI this, AI that, AI, whatever. And I kind of think, really, at the end of the day, it's just different algorithms that fit into a certain class or a certain category. So previously we would have statistical algorithms, sometimes we would have other issues, but generally these are just algorithms frequently that have been around for a decade that or well decades, and we just haven't been able to make use of them because we didn't have the processing power or we didn't have the data availability. And now we just do. But at the end of the day, they're really just fundamentally computer programs taking advantage of algorithms that allow for more fruitful analysis of the data. So just for example, if you want to calculate a mortgage in the past, you would use principles such as what's the credit score, what's the loan to value, what's the payment to compare to their income, and then you make a statistical calculation of what's the likely probability they would default. On the other hand, now you would use a decision tree algorithm, which is like, which is able to take advantage of many more decision points and come out with much more of a finite solution. And a decision tree, yes, the typical thing we draw in college or in high school or elementary school, like, does the person have a credit score above 750? Yes, okay, kind of probably give them the loan. Below 750, well, now let's ask a lot more questions, like what's the loan to value? What's the value of the house? Do they have a good job? Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, and all that sort of stuff. And those decision trees are using AI because that's a form of structured machine learning in the training of the program, compared to statistics, which essentially are structured learning, but it's just a different version of algorithms. And again, the machine learning algorithm decision trees are able to make much more finite, better decisions. So that's me oversimplifying things. Anyway, I'll leave it there, or else I'll go on forever. As far as emerging technologies have the best impact, I'm at a low. I hate using the expression AI. I'd rather use agentic AI, generative AI, all that sort of stuff. Because, like I said, AI is a broad category of programming. And so I tend to look at fundamentally data science as a whole, because data science is a grander scheme of things, and data science allows me to use AI, it allows me to use statistics, it allows me to use a variety of other mathematical formulas, and I wish we would start applying decision science, whether it's AI or whatever, to the management of cybersecurity programs to optimize it. In the, for example, management operations field, there's the concept of operations research, where they go ahead and mathematically look at operations on how to make them more efficient. I wish we would do that with cybersecurity, and we're not. So fundamentally, that's there. I would hate to say generative AI. I would love to say more machine learning is, but at the same time, machine learning is embedded already in just about everything we're using. Machine learning is embedded within, for example, secure email gateways. It's embedded within anti-malware. It's already there. I mean, I just think we're going to take the technologies we have and evolve them. I see agentic, where you have agentic AI, which essentially is computers making decisions simultaneously with taking actions. That's what makes it from a machine learning algorithm to an agentic AI, because the computer program is now not just making a recommendation, it's making a recommendation and taking action. I kind of think we're going to see a lot more of that because companies want to save a lot of money. I don't know if that's a revolution or, in a good way per se. It's going to make us need fewer entry-level people, and I think that we'll probably need more people who know how to apply it. But again, that's to be seen. I mean, that's not the perfect answer to your question, because really I'm just hoping, or I'm just expecting, we're going to have an evolution of what we have. Whether the evolution is fast or slow is another story. My session involves debating Larry Whiteside for all practical purposes. And I was joking, the name of the session should have been titled "Ira's Wrong About Everything." And in there, because Larry and I have good, respectful disagreements. And fundamentally, of course, I want everybody to think I'm right and Larry's wrong, which is probably true. But either way, I want people to come out with the ability to think critically. I don't care at the end of the day whether you think I'm right or Larry's right. I just care that you look at why I think that way. And frankly, if I'm wrong about how I think, as long as you consider it reasonably, I'm happy. But I just want people to take a deeper look at pretty much how they do things, all the all the old wives' tales we're using, because really that's what we have in a lot of cybersecurity, like the user's the weakest link, all these mantras people are going for. AI is going to change everything. And I want people to step back and say, why Ira's thinking in ways that seem contrarian. He might be full of crap, which is okay, but why is he full of crap? I don't really care, again, whether you agree or disagree. I just care that you understand the analysis that went in. And if you think I'm wrong, you have a logical reason for thinking I'm wrong, not an emotional reason for thinking I'm wrong. The reason these conferences are important is, in the first place, this organization, ISACA, Greater Washington, D.C. area, it's a way for people to come together, and you guys always bring together a good crowd. And much like I do with CruiseCon, the concept really isn't necessarily the talks. Everybody, I put together great content just like, your chapter does. But at the same time, what I'm really looking for is to make sure the connections are established, to make sure that people, find both personal friends as well as professional colleagues, friends, whatever, so that you have resources to go to. Because fundamentally, when you're in a profession, you really are looking at the people who are immediately around you. And for many people who are still working remote, you really don't get to make those friendships like we used to be able to in the past. So I'm really hoping that people come together and get to see common, basically people with a common motivation, people who appreciate and understand where you're coming from. Because what we do, is not necessarily what our coworkers understand. They don't have a full appreciation for our concerns, our passions, and things like that. So I'm hoping that, this event just helps to provide that and provide the connections that provide understanding and friendships, so that people have a camaraderie with others in ways they wouldn't otherwise get.